So I was seeing a lot of things pop up in the different communities that I'm in Facebook about time management, right? So it's not specific to military spouse mompreneurs. I think mompreneurs, moms, women, humans, we all have time management things that come up for us. But one of the things that kept coming up was how incredibly difficult it is to manage their time when they're a mom, a business owner, running a house. And then, like I've said a zillion times, sometimes with their spouse or significant other there, and sometimes a lot of times with them gone. And so, like, how can they better manage that time?
Mhm.
And what happens is a lot of times it almost feels like it's asking for the impossible. And I think there's a couple things that the very first two things that come to mind for me here when I think how I would help somebody get past that is there's the literal kind of like mapping out your time and where you're spending it, like putting pen to paper or, typing it up, whatever, on the computer. But there's actually looking at your schedule and seeing what are you actually filling your time with. And then maybe taking a day or two and going over it
Mhm.
hour by hour, just so you know you haven't missed anything and seeing where are you BSing on social media for a little while. Where did you think you were being efficient, but then once you start paying attention, you're like, I was kind of being, getting off topic there for a little while. And then, so there's that. And then when we look at it, we can look at what's blocking us from
Mhm.
being more efficient in that. And some of that is going to be rescheduling, and some of that is actually going to be mindset. So
Mhm.
I actually just created a workshop that I'm going to start making a schedule for to start putting out for folks. It's a free workshop, so it's going to be amazing. But where we actually work through the mindset of like, why are we stuck around not having so much time? Do you truly like jam pack your schedule so hard that you literally have no time to do anything? And if anything fell apart, that, people would just cease to exist? Or
Yeah.
have you been telling yourself these stories about how you don't have time and that is why that keeps coming up for you? Because not to dive too deep into it, but when we tell ourselves these stories, that becomes our reality, right? So no matter
Mhm.
what the story is, if we repeat it often enough and if we're surrounded by it often enough, it becomes our reality.
Yeah.
And so I don't know about you, but I've said a lot over the years, like, I don't have more time. If I only had more time, I need more than 24 hours in a day. Do I though?
Well,
Or is this a story I've told myself? So it's really,
right, because sorry, have you seen the 4 Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss? Right? Have you read that or
read the
heard of
book.
it?
Yeah,
Yeah. So, I mean, and your schedule is very
crunched.
small, right? Based on, I mean, as far as like your allowance of time for doing work related things is very strict and specific. And I wish that I would have been like you when I started my business, but I was working literally from the time I would roll out of bed until the time I would go to sleep. I was working nonstop, and I still felt like I didn't have enough time to work or to breathe or to do anything. And it's so funny that you bring this up because I had just said last week that I feel like sometimes I'll get up and I'll say that I'm working, but really what that means is like I'm sitting at my desk. I'm not working. I'm sitting there trying to figure out what am I going to do because I'm feeling overwhelmed. And then last time that we spoke, we talked about the self journal and writing things down and having it. And the good thing about it is that it has gratitude and other things inside of it, which I dug out my old self journal and I went through all the steps and everything. And I've been doing that. And ever since I started doing that, I realized that I had way more time and that I was more focused if I was to actually do that in the mornings versus just coming and sitting in my chair and figuring out, okay, what are you going to do? You
Yeah,
know?
that's
Yeah.
incredible. I love that point. The fact, all right, so I want to go back to what you mentioned a minute ago. How about I have a very crunched schedule? So to give everybody an idea here, I work about 4 hours a day.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, I almost never feel like I don't have enough time. I get done all of the things that I intend to do, if not that day, occasionally. And we've talked about this before too. Like I usually leave a day a little lighter, Fridays for me.
Hmm.
I usually leave a little lighter than the other days. That way, if there is any overflow from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I can fill it in for Friday. But by the end of the week, I've almost always knocked out everything that I had planned for that week. Um, and because I have learned over, and I wasn't always super efficient with my time, it was taking the experts, the people who have done this and they've nailed it down, and they've really got it down to a science, taking their advice and using things like the Pomodoro technique. Like during the
Hmm.
summer, I work even less because my kids are home or during school breaks and stuff. So
Sure.
one
It's
of the
crazy.
besides
Yeah.
besides scheduling things out ahead of time, which is like I'll write emails and content ahead of time. That's one thing that I do so that I can have that time with them on breaks. But then on a regular day, one of the things that I really love to do is the Pomodoro. So if
Hmm.
you don't know, I know that you do, Rita, but if others don't know what the Pomodoro technique is, it's you take 25 minutes of just intensely focused work. Just
Look, I have this little clock thing. If
yeah.
you haven't seen it, it's like these things work, and what it does is it'll set a timer
Mhm.
for it. But go
Oh,
ahead. I'm
cute.
sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, so 25 minutes of focused work. Maybe you don't place your phone next to you so you're not tempted to like pick it up, and because we have a habit. It's not even that a lot of times I'm like phone game. Why did I even
Mhm.
pick that up? Because it's a habit and it's just going to happen because it's there. So even like put your phone just a little further away from you out of reach, set your timer for 25 minutes. So Pomodoro, 25 minutes, intense work, 5-minute break. Like
Mhm.
get up, close your eyes, rest your eyes from the screen, go outside, get some sun, take some deep breaths. Take an actual break. 25 more
Yeah.
minutes, and you do 4 cycles of that. And then after the fourth cycle of work, you take a little bit longer break, 30 minutes or so, maybe you have a lunch or whatever. And then if you want to, you can do another cycle. But like without distraction, when you're just focused on the one task, you're not multitasking, you can get a crap ton done. And,
Yeah.
and that is how I got so efficient with my time. And I was able to get down to the point where I have like and the 4-hour workday ended up being out of necessity because I did build my
Mhm.
business around my kids. Because yes, I want to be a business owner. And when they're here, I want to be a stay-at-home mom with them. I wanted to have both. So it was
Mhm.
necessary to create a schedule that allowed me to do that. So when I'm working, I'm working. But when I'm with my kids, I'm with my kids. And some
Yeah.
people intertwine the two. Occasionally I'll be a little playful with them and I'll let them give my ideas, but I'm the kind of person who I like things compartmentalized like that. I like my work time to be for my work, and I like for my time with my kids to just be about them. So,
Well,
anyways.
I think it's important because a lot of times people build their business around their life, right? Or the other way around.
Yeah.
They build their life
Life
around
around
their
business.
business, which is what I did. I did that because I needed to prove to everybody that I could do it. And, I had quit my great paying job and moved across the country. I had to show everyone, like, no, I can do this, because my family was constantly saying, like, you should just go back to work. And I said, no, like, I'm not going to. But to your point about the time management and things of that nature, I think that it's really important. Also, what happens is, like, if I'm sitting here at my desk trying to figure out what I'm going to do, oftentimes I think that maybe even though you don't feel like working, once you get started on something and do it for the 25 minutes or however long, once you get into it, then you start feeling like doing it, right? You get more motivated to
Mhm.
actually do the thing. And so I just want to say, like, if it's time to work, you sit down and work, right? That's probably the way you feel, because you maybe don't feel like all the time being ready to work.
No, I don't always feel like Mondays are rough for me. I don't
Yeah.
have a whole lot of creativity flowing. I'm coming off a weekend. I kind of just still want to be lazy. But Mondays are the days that I actually kind of fill my calendar with the most stuff so that I don't
Mhm.
have the opportunity to BS my way through the day. And something that you can do. So you mentioned what I have heard called, and I refer to it as the motivation cycle. So
Mm,
it's just doing something, and then you can choose a little thing. And then when you've completed it, you actually do get that little boost of motivation. It's just kind of a
yeah,
natural little magical thing that happens. You complete something, there's like a little excitement that happens, and it gets you going. It gets your mojo going, and you want to keep going. It's a cycle.
yeah.
Yeah.
I love